Hi, I'm Anna Olson, and I'm so glad you're here at Oh Yum. What I am kicking things off with is a whole roasted turkey with caramelized onion and apple stuffing, and don't forget the classic gravy. This is the beginning of a series of festive recipes, so it means you will want to subscribe right below, and don't forget to tap the notification button so you hear when a new recipe is coming your way. So I want to start things off. Before I can get the turkey in the oven, I have to make the dressing. And making stuffing is really relatively simple. You want to start with day-old bread. I've diced it into 1-inch cubes, and I'm going to add to that some diced up dried apple. Not fresh apple, because that would actually let out too much juice, but the dried apple plumps up and then absorbs the onion and the stock and the sage and the turkey flavors as it roasts. For me, sage is classic in stuffing. So I've chopped a couple tablespoons of fresh sage. I loosely measure, you can precisely measure if you wish, but 3/4 of a teaspoon of fine salt. Since I can't taste as I go once it's inside the turkey, I want the right measurement. And 1.5 cups of chicken stock just to moisten the bread a little bit. Of course, the juices as the turkey cooks will add more moisture to that, and it sort of souffles and fluffs up. All right, I can see that bread is soaking up the liquid, so now I can add my caramelized onions, which is really at the heart of this stuffing recipe when it comes to flavor. So just make sure those onions are stirred in nicely. And then I can set this aside while I bring over the turkey. So now I have my turkey ready, thawed. I have it resting on a single leek that I've diced up. So it elevates the turkey so it won't stick to the bottom of the pan. The leeks will flavor the juices that cook as the turkey roasts. I want to smear and slather the top of this turkey with butter. That way it butter bastes as it roasts. So I have 1/2 cup of butter, yes, 1/2 cup of butter. I will strain some of it away, but some of this butter will actually be used to thicken my gravy. And I'm adding some chopped fresh thyme. And I just give this a quick stir. Okay, I've got my stuffing, I've got my thyme butter, salt and pepper, and now, the new thinking these days is to actually not rinse out your chicken or turkey if roasting it whole, because you're more at risk of spreading bacteria around your sink and work area than if you weren't. So what I like to do, I take it out of its packaging, I pat it dry, I try and put it right into the roasting pan I want to use, and then if I'm not ready to pop it right in the oven, I put it back in the fridge, but you want to store it in the lower portion of the fridge, not the upper. And out of habit, I don't know if it's a chef habit or just my own habit, when I work with chicken or turkey, I try and keep one hand not in contact with the bird. That way, at least I have a clean hand to go turn on the kitchen faucet or what have you. So with my turkey hand, my dry skin, I'm just gonna smear, and it doesn't have to be perfect or an even layer. I'm not frosting a cake. And then I will use this butter right from the get-go to baste the turkey as it roasts. And even if your turkey is close to the edge of the roasting pan, a little near the pan, that way it bastes the pan and your turkey won't stick. There we go. And this is a clean hand, but I'm not touching the turkey. A little sprinkle of that salt and pepper I had pulled aside. All right. Before I get to the oven, I'm gonna give my hands a little wash. When I'm roasting my turkey, I like to roast it uncovered. That way I'm not steaming it, and I can coax that brown skin early on by lots of basting. I've preheated my oven to 325, and you want to budget at least 20 minutes per pound. Well, it certainly smells incredible. And while I'm here, I want to check on the temperature. And to know your turkey is done, using an instant read thermometer is really the easiest way. And you have to check it in 3 spots. Right in the center of the breast, it should be 170. And then at right where the thigh meets the breast, which is kind of a dense area, dark meat needs to hit 180 Fahrenheit. And then what's also important is you have to check the center of the stuffing. just because it's at the heart of it and it takes in all those beautiful turkey juices, it needs to be 165 Fahrenheit. I'm there, so this is ready to come out. I was basting the entire time I was roasting the turkey, about every 20 minutes. Don't panic if you forget or you're a few minutes late, it's no big deal. But what does count is that you baste quite often during that last hour of cooking. Now I'm ready to take the bird out of the pan so I can make the gravy. But you want to give the turkey time to rest so when you slice it, the juices don't run out everywhere. And because the gravy takes about 10 minutes, that's the ideal time. And I'll leave the stuffing in until the last minute. That way, everything stays nice and warm. Now, I've got a bowl and strainer handy so I can strain off the juices and the leeks that have really now practically overcooked. If you wanted to, you could put fresh leeks back in. And let me grab a wooden spoon so I can scrape up everything. And whatever you do, do not wash this pan at this point. There is so much wonderful flavor built in. We want to capture that and make it part of the gravy. Okay, now the ingredients I need for the gravy: chicken stock to supplement my turkey juices here. A little vermouth is my secret add-in. And I've got 1/3 cup of flour. Now what I need to do is turn this pan onto medium-high heat, and I need to deglaze it. So to deglaze means to pull off all these beautiful flavor bits. And you need something with some acidity. You don't want to add a fat. It won't do anything to pull the flavor bits off. So I use vermouth. It's got a little more intensity to white wine, but it doesn't add too much acidity to your gravy, and it smells amazing. And after the vermouth has reduced by about half, that's when I add some of the fat from the juices at the bottom of the pan. If you have a gravy separator, that works really well. But I actually want the fat. Remember all that butter I used to baste the top of the turkey? Well, I'm making use of it now as the thickening agent for my gravy. So you want to add 1/4 cup. And at the same time, I'll add my 1/3 cup of flour. And if you're trying to make a gluten-free gravy, you can skip the part with the flour, obviously. But then what you want to do is thicken the sauce using a cornstarch. So what I want to do now is cook out the flour and even toast it a little bit. I'm going to turn down my heat just a little lower. I don't want to burn the flour. And I cook this for about 3 or 4 minutes, a little longer if you want it to darken a little bit more. And it's a choice, it's a personal choice. Some people like a lighter colored gravy with their turkey and some like a really dark one. It's up to you. In the meantime, while I'm letting this cook out, and I can control the temperature, if I turn the heat down, then I don't have to stir it often and I can get other things done, like spooning the rest of the fat off of these juices so I can use it in the gravy. Now that my flour has browned a little bit, I can work in the stock. So from my roasting pan, I have 1.5 cups of juices, so I'll top it up to 2 cups and add an additional cup. So 3 cups total. It's a lot of gravy for this size of turkey, but is there such a thing as too much gravy? I don't think so. So I'll first start by adding a little bit of liquid, just over 1/2 cup, and whisk that in. It'll immediately thicken up and heat up, and then you want to quickly turn around and add another 1/2 cup or so and work it through. Adding a little at a time ensures you won't get a lumpy gravy. Oh, that smells incredible. So there's 2 cups added. I'll add another. Once you've added that base bit of liquid, you don't have to add it in such small amounts. I know I already have a lump-free gravy. At this point, no new lumps are ever gonna appear. You bring this to a full simmer, season it with a little salt and pepper, and you're all set. I just want to pull those last bits off the side of the pan because that's all the deliciousness. And I'll bring it to a full simmer, not a rolling boil, but gentle bubbles breaking the surface. That way I know it's fully thickened. Now it's time to put everything on the platter. First thing I want to do is pull out the stuffing, and then that makes the turkey easier to carve. See how those dried apple pieces plumped right up? They've absorbed all the juices and delicious flavor, and that combined with the caramelized onions. It still respects the classic stuffing that you expect to taste when you have turkey, but yet it's just a little bit different. Now, you deserve to feel proud of the work you've done here. So if you want, you can present the whole bird. You can even take it out to the dining room to show everyone. But then I really do actually recommend bringing it back to the kitchen to carve up. It's a little more graceful in the privacy of your own kitchen. And for tips on carving a turkey, well, you just want to click right here. Let me get gravy into the boat, and we're ready for that ta-da moment. I think part of the privilege of carving your turkey in the kitchen is you get to hold back a few pieces and a little extra gravy for yourself. There we have it. And of course, a little cranberry sauce. And there it is, whole roasted turkey with caramelized onion and apple stuffing, the classic gravy to go with it. Of course, a turkey like this deserves some stunning side dishes. So check out my recipes for mashed potatoes with green onions and Brussels sprouts with lemon Asiago and toasted buckwheat kasha. Ooh, what is that?